moved.
Second.
Got a second, so all in favor of going into executive session, state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, state so by saying nay.
Nay. Sorry. I said aye and nay, so it's aye. Sorry. I've been with lots of kids lately.
This call was hilarious.
All in favor of coming out of executive session, state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, state so by saying nay.
Certification.
All right, certification of executive session. Whereas the Tazewell Town Council has convened an executive session on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas 2.1-344.1 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this council that such executive session was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved, the Tazewell Town Council hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the executive session to which this certification resolution applies. And two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the executive session were heard, discussed, or considered by the Tazewell Town Council. I need a roll call vote for certification. Vice Mayor Catchell.
Aye.
Councilmember Davis.
Aye.
Councilmember Fox. Councilmember Beasley.
Aye.
Councilmember Hankins.
Aye.
Councilmember Klein.
Aye.
Okay, so the results are certified. Do we have any motions coming out of the executive session?
Councilman Beasley.
What's up? Oh. Sorry, I thought we were doing that after. I'd like to make a motion to close the RFP for recruiting services for the town manager position. And I also would like to make the motion that we take no action with the RFP.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of closing the RFP for recruiting services for town manager position and agree to take no action, state so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, state so by saying nay. All right. So, next, for those, sorry for our tardiness, for those here for the joint public hearing, so we'll go right into that. Let's see, do I have that? Do we have the notification of joint public hearing? I don't have it here.
It's not in your packet.
No.
Oh. We're just looking at it.
Notice of joint public hearing. Notice is hereby given that on Tuesday, April 9, 2024 at 6:45 p.m. in the council chambers of the municipal building for the town of Tazewell, located at 211 Central Avenue, Tazewell, Virginia. The Tazewell Town Council and the Town of Tazewell Planning Commission will hold a joint public hearing pursuant to Virginia Code 15.2-2204, Town Charter Section 3-8, and Town Code Section 23-2 to provide the citizens of the town an opportunity to be heard with respect to a proposal for the town to amend Chapter 23 zoning of the Code of the Town of Tazewell in order to revise the zoning map classification for properties located in the areas at or near Hillsborough Drive and Coral Drive, and properties located in areas at or near Cosby Lane, Park Avenue, and Vantage Drive. The proposal requests the identified properties be rezoned from their current agricultural general A1 classification to a revised residential limited R1 or residential general R2 classifications, dependent upon the type of structures currently located in the areas as indicated above. The general usage and density range of the proposed zoning classification amendment will be residential, general, with a range of 2 to 5 dwelling units per acre, or residential limited with a range of 0 to 2 dwelling units per acre, which would reflect a change from the current range of 1 permitted use for every 20,000 square feet, or 0 to 2 dwelling units per acre, or 2 to 5 dwelling units per acre. Gross with the usage and density range is set forth in part 6 of the comprehensive plan for the town being low-density residential. A copy of the proposed ordinance amendment map with map revisions and the listing of the individual tax map parcel numbers of the properties to be affected are available for review and inspection upon normal business hours, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the Town of Tazewell Municipal Building as referenced here and above. So, it's open to the public. If there's any questions, concerns, comments about this change? Yes, sir, please come up, state your name and address,
I need to come up here.
please.
My name's Timothy Day. I own 25.25 acres off Coral Drive. And my address is 271 Coral Drive. I'm opposed to the rezoning of my property from A1 to R1 or R2. And I'll give you the reasons why. By this action, it limits the landowner of intended usage. Now, when my parents bought that property 60 years ago, they bought it as a farm, and that's what we intended to keep it as. And even when the state come through with the 460 on property in the county on the opposite side of Whitman's Road, it unnecessarily restricting the property usage without offering just compensation, which opens the town of Tazewell to undue liability and possible undue litigation. The founding fathers would wish to protect landowners' rights through amendments such as the 5th Amendment and the 14th Amendment. And the 5th Amendment talks of a taking clause, and the 14th Amendment is a due process. There's more reasons than just being a landowner and the primary usage was for farming. There's also transmission lines that the Appalachian Power supplies the town of Tazewell with that run the breadth of my property. And these lines are multiple lines, and they have 320,000 kV volts running through them. Now, they have burnt before, helicopters and stuff, when we fly low, they have clipped them, and I have seen it happen. And it's like when you snap a whip, it ain't just going to fall flat. It's going to jerk. So you can't build anything, any type of structure within 50 feet of each side of those lines. And there's 3 to 4 of them that run the breadth of that property in the middle of it. Also, Lincolnshire branches down there on the opposite side that touches my property. My property has water for livestock, which maybe some of the surrounding properties do not. My dad sold the town property so that they could put the Lincolnshire Lake in there. That Lincolnshire branch runs from up Lake Whitten Road off my property and funnels through into the town. The front part of the property where Coral Drive is, it's real swampy. You probably couldn't ever build anything there within the flood zone. So to change the property from A1 to R1 or R2 would be unnecessary, in my view. And that's just about all I have to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for doing your research.
Two seconds.
That's the first public hearing.
That was just it.
What's his address? Cool. 271.
Last year I found it. Mr. Day, did you say 271 Coral Drive?
Yes.
271 Coral Drive.
Plus, I'd like to add that the last time a house was built there, up Coral Drive was 52 years ago. And that was my mom and dad that built the last house.
Any other public? I gotta read this. On this list?
I have a couple of questions. You still have, I remember when your dad had it place before, do you still keep cattle, sheep, goats, any type of livestock on that property?
We have had all of the above on the property, but currently there's no animals on it right now.
How big is the action? I know you got your parents, are you living in your folks' old house?
Yeah,
And it's fenced off, at least if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just trying to take this off of memory. But how big is the actual tract that you have? And
the one that resides in town is 25.25 acres. And I do have a couple of lots down below that had old houses on them, and I knocked them down. Across, that's in the county, it's 55 or 60 acres. Go back
on the other side, on the other side of 460. They came through with 460 back in the 70s, basically split your folks' property into.
That's right, and that Lincolnshire branch runs through the whole breadth of the property.
On the other side, definitely, yes. Yeah.
And well, it runs through the town part too. That's what funnels the Lincolnshire Lake.
Gotcha. I guess part of that's in conservation, isn't it, Chris? Part of it.
Lakeside,
Yeah, lakeside.
Yeah, that's 460.
I'm with you, man.
What's the tax map number on that one, Chris?
On his?
Yes.
095A0013A.
Yeah. Say that again.
13A.
Double 13A.
Double 13A.
It's right at the
I've
end
got
of what
the
we're
ag-
considering
I
rezoning.
don't have the tax map.
It's
It's
from
25.25 acres.
25.25 acres.
You're up and to the right.
I
And
can
I
check.
guess your property borders the Rose's house and
Yeah,
a few others in there.
My dad sold Miss Pat that house. That was the house they originally moved to back in the 60s, 65. And they built when they built the house in 72, they sold that to Miss Pat, and then Alan Rose bought it from Miss Pat.
Thank you. Sorry, I just had
No,
a question about it.
Yeah.
so I guess we're ready to close the public hearing now, unless there's anybody else that wishes to speak, and the council definitely heard what you had. So we're going to close the joint public hearing, and we'll wait till 7:30 until our regular town council meeting.
We're going to try to be nice to you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the regular town council meeting. If you please stand for the pledge of allegiance and invocation. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you that we have the privilege to assemble, to do business, to express opinions and differences of opinions, to work them out as best we can, and to focus on what's right for our town and local community. We thank you for our elected officers and our servants here in the community. Ask you to watch over our meeting tonight, make it as effective and efficient as it can be. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Steve. So first on our agenda is the special presentation request. We have a briefing update from DHCD Virginia Main Street Program in Tazewell today. You guys come on up.
Hello, everyone. I am Kara Spivey, and I'm the current president of Tazewell Today, a local nonprofit here in Tazewell, Virginia, that is part of the Virginia Main Street Program. And we're excited to welcome Courtney Maley from the DHCD. We were hoping our new program coordinator, Amy, was going to be able to join us this evening, but she's unfortunately sick. So Courtney's here, and Courtney's going to provide a great update about the Virginia Main Street Program and how Tazewell Today has grown within that program. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you.
I got you.
Oh, thank you. See some familiar faces. It's good to see you again. I was the original program administrator for Tazewell Today when you joined the Virginia Main Street program. So it's kind of a full circle moment. Next slide. DHCD is committed to creating safe, affordable, and prosperous communities to live, work, and do business in Virginia. Virginia Main Street is a program within DHCD. It was established in 1985, so we're looking at 40 years in Virginia. Next year we're going to have a big party, and we hope that you will be there to help us celebrate. We've been active as the state coordinating program for Main Street America, so your local program, we're the state program, and there's actually a national program that is part of the National Trust for Historic Preservation, and it's called Main Street America. And Main Street America is the gold standard. They set the rubric by which the local programs are judged, and the state coordinating program is actually the one that does the accreditation reviews every year. And I'm happy to say you guys had a great review this year. It was awesome. So it's part of a grassroots network. There are more than 1,600 communities just like yours all over the country in 40 states, and there are other countries that are getting interested in doing this. So Main Street Australia has picked up on what you're doing and wants to implement it in small historic communities in Australia. So kind of cool. One of the key mantras of Main Street is that it's economic development in the context of historic preservation. So it's really most effective in communities that have a strong sense of place and have that beautiful historic fabric to build on. We offer a range of services, assistance, grants, and training for local leaders. So we want to empower local people to revitalize their own historic commercial districts. And the Main Street approach, for those of you who are new to Main Street, it's really 4 points. So economic vitality, design, organization, and promotion. These are the 4 activities that every local Main Street community is active in. Most people think of promotion when they think of Main Street, so the events and the parties, those are more visible, but that's really only 25% of the actual activity of a Main Street organization. And of those 4, the most important is organizing. So building a sustainable organization with strong local leadership. And I think it's really great that we have some of the original founders of Tazewell Today here. Then we have a next generation and a new generation. So in 3 years, we've cycled through several different leaders at both the staff and the board level, and it just goes from strength to strength. So I hope that you guys will really continue to invest and keep that momentum going. Next slide. So the Main Street approach, we talked about these 4 points. But there's also this thing that we like to call strategies, transformation strategies. And there was a market strategy assessment done in, I want to say either the first or second year. I think it was the first year that Tazewell today was in the program. And that included doing some data work, but also community visioning. So we did surveys, we had focus groups, trying to get an understanding of the local market at that time. And that was right as we were coming out of the pandemic. So I think that we might want to refresh your market strategies in another year or two, just to be more current with existing data. But the market strategy for transformation cuts across all 4 points. We take those quantitative and qualitative outcomes from the study, and we actually identified 3 potential market strategies for Tazewell, but the board at that time decided to focus on 1. And before I reveal what that is, so just to give you an idea of what we studied. So this is drive times. We have a 5, a 10, and a 30-minute drive time. That's what the different colors are. This is ESRI data, and that was the best data that we had available at the time. This is really expressing the local market. Since this study was done, we now use a different data set called Placer AI, which is based off of cell phones. So that data set will account for tourism and visitation, not just the local market. But at this time, this is what we had. Next slide. We did some number crunching and found that there are these categories where there's actually additional potential for retail growth in Tazewell. Specifically, of course, we're looking at downtown, and we're trying to find those opportunities that haven't been met yet. And then, of course, we had the survey. So this is the things that people really liked about your downtown. And beautiful was the #1 response that we got. And it's not a lie. You have a beautiful downtown. So family friendly. Of the transformation strategies that we identified for Tazewell, the board decided to focus on family friendly. And within Main Street, when we talk about family friendly, we're not just talking about small children, we're talking about multi-generational. So if you have an activity that an 8-year-old and an 80-year-old both equally enjoy, then that's an achievement. That's the kind of activity that we're looking for. So just to reiterate, we did the number crunching, family-friendly market strategy. We're trying to do that across all 4 points. So what does Virginia Main Street do for you? You were designated as an advancing Virginia Main Street community in 2020. So that means you get the signs. So you got your highway signs, big moment. And we're accredited with Main Street America stamp of approval. And so far Tazewell has gotten accreditation every year since being designated. So that's a significant achievement. Now within accreditation, it's a little bit on a scoring scale and your scores keep going up. So keep in mind that you're improving over time. Specialized consulting services. When we came in, Kelly, Chair Pitch, my counterpart from DHCD, she saw the new branding. She's like, wait, they have new branding? I was like, yeah, we did a consulting service with them. So that's the kind of thing we can provide. Branding, architectural renderings, market analysis. There's a lot to Main Street beyond just events. Continuing education. We provide continuing education through webinars and through in-person trainings. And the executive director is the bare minimum attendance, but we hope that board members and volunteers are also interested in attending. But hey, if someone on council also wants to come, we'll be sure to get that information to you. The next training is going to be in Danville in June, and we'll be sure to get some information to Kara, who can then share it with the rest of you. One-on-one program director and board member training. So Amy, who could not be here today, is essentially your person. So if you need something, you call Amy, and she's gonna sort you out if she can. If she can't, it kicks up to me. If I can't sort you out, then there's my boss, and so on. And if it's really just out of the scope of what DHCD can offer, we'll try and connect you with another resource in state government who can address your issue. So we're here to help you troubleshoot and cut the red tape. Resource and information sharing. Sometimes you have a problem that is just weird and you've never encountered this before. We have one community that shall remain nameless in Virginia who has a real middle schooler problem. And they're like, we have all of these crazy middle schoolers who bombard their main street every day. So schools at one end and neighborhoods at the other, and there's like middle schooler drama the whole way down. And they're like, how do we deal with this? And I said, honestly, I've never heard of this before. So I dug through my Main Street network, and there's a community in Maine who has the same problem, and they have 3 different ways that they're solving it. So I was like, okay, let's talk to the people in Maine and how they're dealing with their middle schoolers. So there's somebody out there in that network of 1,600 who's dealt with whatever it is that you're trying to deal with. Use of the logo and branding, and then technical assistance and site visits. So here I am today. I'm doing a site visit at the end of council, believe it or not. I'm gonna tour downtown, I'm gonna tour North Tazewell, and Kelly and I are gonna talk about project development for other programs within our agency. So anytime I'm in town, I am looking for opportunities for you and providing technical assistance, which means troubleshooting on the fly. All right, grants. So I know people are interested in grants, and I wanted to talk about some of the grants that Virginia Main Street has already conferred to Tazewell. So surprise, you've been invited to apply for a downtown master plan grant of up to $50,000. Awards will be announced late spring, early summer. And we are aware that North Tazewell just signed a business district revitalization grant MOU with DHCD. So we're going to make sure that these 2 projects are coordinated, not competitive. We want to, as much as possible, make sure that those 2 projects are integrated and supporting one another. So keep an eye on that. More to come. $30,000 downtown investment grant. So right now you're in the process of implementing planning for your green space, and I think we did some mini park improvements. So it's primarily planning, but there might be a little bit of implementation in that project, which is still open and ongoing. There was a financial feasibility grant to study that parcel of property, which was conveyed to Tazewell today. And we now have a complete set of documents for what can this be and how can we actually make it cash flow and what is it going to cost to do that. So we now have an answer. It's going to cost $5 million to turn it into a real thing, and now you can start looking for money to make it happen. So it's not just an idea, it's like you've got concrete facts to work with. And yes, costs will probably escalate over time, but at least you have a beginning of an answer. And then technical assistance. So the branding that we talked about earlier, that was part of a technical assistance grant. And right when you came into the program, there were some enhancements to the mini park through a grant to Tazewell today. So far, all total, Virginia Main Street has conveyed just over $100,000 to Tazewell, so we are invested in you. Some of the services that I had talked about earlier, so we have some of these pretty renderings. Fraser Associates is the Virginia Main Street architect at this time, and if there is a property owner in the district who would like to make facade improvements to their property, they contact Tazewell today, and Tazewell today will get you in the queue for a facade rendering. These are not construction-ready documents, but they are conceptual drawings, and if the property owner has a budget, they can work to that budget to give you some ideas about what is possible. And I mean, Fraser's just amazing. I saw this one restaurant that is literally at this moment just a brick block, and they turned it into a restaurant with porch swings and fencing, and all of these awnings everywhere, and it was like, I want to go eat there right now. So they're very talented architects, and if you have a good budget, or even if you don't, if all you can afford is paint, they can help you have a refresh just based on paint color. Fund development services, that is something that we did with Tazewell Today last year. And Jennifer Goldman was the consultant who worked with you on that. So fund development is another way of saying fundraising, but we don't want you to just think of events, which is what most people think of when you think of fundraising. We actually set out what is the budget that it would cost for you to do your plan of work, and then start matching the resources to that budget. Think big, but don't be ridiculous. But don't look too small, don't play small ball. We need to make an impact here. So that's the conversation that Tazewell Today was having with Jennifer. Like, what is the right budget to make an impact in Tazewell, and then how do we fund that plan? Market strategy services I talked about earlier, and then renderings. Okay, fund numbers. Tazewell Today's impact. So last year in 2023, there was a total private investment of over $500,000 in your downtown across 8 projects. And so the average per project was about $68,000. And I did not wear my glasses, so I'm doing my best here. Total businesses that were assisted, so that means created or expanded, 6. And jobs created or retained through that work, 24 jobs. That's pretty significant in a small community, especially for only a 3rd year in operation as a program, as an economic development program. They had 21 events, and those events attracted more than 23,000 people to your downtown. And that's an estimate. I imagine if we used Placer AI, we would get a more accurate number. In Whitfield, they were estimating their attendance to be about 5,000, just eyeballing it, and then they used Placer and they found out, whoops, it was 10,000. So you never know until you actually look at hard data, but that hard data does exist, and I think I'm gonna try and get that for you this year, so remind me to see if we can do that. Total volunteer hours for 2023, you guys did great, almost 2,000 hours of volunteer time. And each of those hours have a monetary value. So the market estimate is 61,000 plus. Now, the next column over is cumulative. So that's everything that Tazewell Today has achieved since entering the program. And instead of going through each of these numbers individually, we're going to go through some charts. So keep in mind that economic development programs typically are not evaluated until 5 years. So you don't really know, you can't really judge until the 5th year, but they're moving in the right direction. So the first couple of years, it's not uncommon to start grinding your gears, forming the organization, storming through some of the requirements, and then you start norming to Virginia Main Street best practices and standards, and then you start performing. So I include the little chart down at the bottom so you can see it's not that there was nothing happening prior, it's just we're starting to see liftoff in 2023. So this is private investment, volunteer hours. You've always had great volunteer engagement, but this year it really shot up. And same for job creation. So job creation, again, on the upward trajectory. So the kinds of outcomes that we're looking for in Virginia Main Street, utilizing historic assets and buildings, public-private collaboration, preservation and creation of jobs, increasing tax revenue, community pride, vibrancy, people who say, I can't wait to go back to that place, regional allure fitting into the Southwest Virginia ethos of recreation, arts and culture, independence and history, and then sense of place, so a unique place. Benefits to key stakeholders, I just threw this in there because I'm speaking to local government, so don't you want to know what's in it for you? Increased tax base, job growth, new development. There are some of these pockmarks, some empty lots along the main street. Those are opportunities for new development over time. A coordinated vision and goals, and hopefully we'll be able to make some improvement on that with the downtown master plan this year. And just developing relationships across the public and private sectors. Local residents will hopefully get more choices in their immediate market area, as well as having a sense of community and an opportunity to participate as volunteers and telling your story through the preservation of heritage. Business owners, hopefully in time, will see increased sales and receive educational opportunities. There should be some district marketing as part of tourism, but also specific to the downtown area. And I know Tazewell today is very generous about marketing businesses inside and outside of their district. They're not as focused just on the district when it comes to cross-promotional marketing. Grant opportunities for business owners. The last time I was here, I was with another one of my DHCD colleagues who runs the IRF program, and he also runs the Enterprise Zone program, and he talked to one of the business owners about his check is coming in the mail for Enterprise Zone, so they were able to make that connection. And there are grant opportunities through Enterprise Zone, but also, as we talked about earlier, through Tazewell today, through Virginia Main Street. And other needs are addressed as business owners raise them. Property owners should see increased occupancy and hopefully rate values. They should see increased property values. They'll receive design assistance if they ask for it. And grant opportunities. We talked about IRF, but we also have that program, the Financial Feasibility Grant Program, that is, it would run through Tazewell today to the benefit of the property owner if they are not sure what they want to do with their building. And then new uses, so old buildings love new uses. So that's my show.
I had a few additional pieces to talk about.
Sure, of
before we
course.
wrap up. I wanted to make special mention that Tazewell today is 10 years old. Just because it joined the Virginia Main Street program in 2021, it was in existence long before then. And if it weren't for the visionary people that started Tazewell today, Tazewell wouldn't be part of the Virginia Main Street program at all. So Tazewell today is a we. It has, Courtney's already pointed out, it's been multi-generational. And so all of the success that the Main Street District has seen is because of all of the tireless volunteer hours that have already been poured in because of stakeholders in the community who care. So we're very lucky to continue to work with past board members. And you know, we need that type of guidance so that we can keep Tazewell, you know, growing, but is still maintaining that historical asset like Courtney mentioned. And I actually printed out copies of the transformation strategy so you guys can have them. So I, as someone who is very new to this type of work, I like rules and guidelines, and I like to learn how to best attack the problem. So I see our transformation strategy as the why, as well as it gives us a play-by-play of how. So within the transformation strategy, there are examples of what each committee can be doing to best serve. And a common question that we receive about why would we only want to care about Main Street? And the answer to that is we're a small town, so we're going to see a trickle-down effect, especially as the traveler opens up this spring and summer. So if you focus on number 2, we need to build a funky, quirky entrepreneurial system that supports downtown and creates external environment infrastructure supportive of their launch and growth. That's straight from the transformation strategy that started in 2021. So all the things that we are trying to do is because of the guidance and the structure that the DHCD has given us. And then on our website, you'll be able to see our full work plan. So as Courtney said, each committee is working on different projects. It's a very large document. I could not get it to fit on the slide. So you're more than welcome to approach tazewelltoday.org and find the work plan, as well as our different committees. So you all have committees, the town council. You know how difficult and challenging it can be for people to come to those committees. And something that I have enjoyed the most out of this past year is seeing our committees grow and community members find a place to get plugged in. Whether they live within Tazewell, or maybe they live in the county, or they live somewhere else. We're giving them a place to come and contribute to where they live. So, our design committee meets on the third Monday at noon at the Tazewell Today office. Promotion committee has been rotating from business to business. It's going to start meeting at the American Legion building on the fourth Tuesday of the month. Economic Vitality, we're meeting at the Happy Goat on the third Tuesday, right? We have a very, and all this information is again on our website. You can see the committee members who are part of the board, as well as our volunteers that come. And then something that I love to plug is maybe being on a full functioning, full-blown committee is a lot. And maybe you're passionate about one thing. We have subcommittees, okay? We have a Murals on Main subcommittee. We have a Main Street Bowman subcommittee. We really try to let whoever wants to participate in helping Tazewell grow and continue to be kind of a model for other communities to continue their own revitalization effort. We love to help, and that's kind of where I know for all of our board, where our high hearts lie, is just having Tazewellians contribute to what Tazewell can look like. And that's all I had. So thank you so much. We are happy to be here, happy to do the work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Could we ask you a few questions?
Oh, sure.
We always have questions.
Okay.
You had mentioned that we adopted the family-friendly strategy, but I didn't capture the other two strategies that weren't decided on.
There you go, bud.
So the other two,
Tourism and
Tourism.
building an entrepreneur ecosystem.
okay. And you said that we're going to be possibly looking at a new marketing strategy coming up,
Probably, I wouldn't say a new strategy, but a refresh
revamped.
based on new data. So what we're finding with the ESRI data in Southwest Virginia is it's only capturing the local market, which is about 30% at most of the total market that it takes to make a retail environment function. So the other 70% was not captured in this first data run. And with Placer AI, we'll get a more complete picture that also includes visitors. So I'd like to do a refresh based on the new data that we can access.
Yeah. And with Placer AI, are you using like geofencing to
Yes,
pull
so
data
your downtown
from us?
district is the geofence.
And then do you all have you all provide that software access? We don't have to purchase anything for that?
You don't have to purchase anything, that comes through Virginia Main Street.
Okay. And,
You're welcome.
Yeah.
For those who've
The,
tried to work with Placer, it's ridiculous expensive.
Right. And one of the other questions I was going to have is a little bit more generic, but and what cued me to that question, when we looked at the grants and you put a $5 million price tag on the lot that the Tazewell Today has, and
So that's based on memory, that's.
I remember a similar thing. Was it
Yeah.
for like a children's museum or
Yeah,
It's a business
multi-purpose.
multi-purpose
building.
building? As far as our town's priorities, and the question I want to ask is, what traits are you seeing in the most successful towns that have this Main Street status as far as their collaboration efforts regarding major projects like that?
So children's museums, we've seen in Harrisonburg, Lynchburg, there's actually one in Covington that's a smaller community, more along your size. And again, we have this network of 1,600 other local communities across the country. I wouldn't just necessarily be focused on Virginia when I'm looking for the right fit for what Tazewell is trying to achieve. But it's a very doable idea. It's not a crazy out there idea.
But I was a little bit higher than that one.
Okay.
Thinking about like just traits that you see as far as cross-pollination or cross-communication. Is there something from your experience based on being around and seeing other communities? Are there any specific traits that you see for collaboration efforts between units like Tazewell Today and our town council that you would say, hey, this is what, and I'm sure there's documentation that supports it, but this is what makes these partnerships work.
relationships work.
Mhm.
Yeah, so there are a number of tactics to help make that happen. One that I frequently suggest is there are work sessions for council during the day, and having the executive director or a board member present during the work sessions to provide information. Todd Wolford at Whitfield, downtown Whitfield Incorporated, for the first year or two, he just sat in a work session, and every now and then he would pop up with information. And then by the end of the third year, he was integral to that conversation. Like, they realized he knew a lot about the problems they were trying to solve, but he didn't want to impose. So for him, it was more listening before engaging, and I think vice versa. So every community is going to be a little bit different, but I think that work session is a really good place to have cross-communication. There are multiple other organizations and entities that address economic development in your community, so having cross-representation, either through volunteers or board service, is really important. And then having local government inviting Main Street to the table when there is a planning effort, or even just weekly check-ins. So in Harrisonburg, their downtown executive director has a weekly meeting with the economic development director, the community planning director, and is part of the all hands with the town manager every week. So she has 3 meetings every week at City Hall. And that's part of how they cross-communicate. So is that the kind of information you're trying to get from me?
Yeah, I think that's one of those, I think it's an area of improvement that our town specifically
Yeah.
needs attention on. But I do thank you for taking time to answer
Of
my
course.
questions.
Yeah,
and
no.
coming out. Appreciate the presentation.
Absolutely.
So North Tazewell's gonna be the big place to go work at, isn't it?
Trickle down, got to.
That's right. That's right, right?
You said it, Dave.
All right.
Any other questions or anything?
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
So next on the agenda is National Police Week support request from Ashley Fisher.
We've received a donation request. This is a request for the National Police Week, which is May the 12th through May the 18th. And Fisher and Company has historically held an event down there to feed a total of about 120 local law enforcement officers. This is for active and retired. And she has numerous volunteers that have helped her do this and make it possible. And they are asking if we would want to contribute or donate something that they would like to give to their law enforcement officers. They plan on doing this meal May the 13th.
What have we done in the past?
We have never got this request in the
We
past.
Oh,
Not to my knowledge.
Now, I didn't ring a bell to me, but I'm not sure.
I've volunteered for it before. I mean, she does amazing things. It's free food, and it's her food, and it's
Well, we
amazing.
know we got food.
And they usually have items, like door prizes that you can win. And they said in the room, they would like to have every officer leave with something.
What's the cost?
Yeah, that was-
Last year, how much?
We've never had this request before.
So
This is
we
new.
would do it based on our law enforcement. We got 14 in the police department. Right?
Yeah. Why can't we just, see what the cost is, and then we go there?
Well, because you're funding.
Are we gonna find, well,
What do you mean, see what the cost is for what?
I think what I'm saying is what did it cost Ashley last year?
yes, last year, I was wanting to get the cost on from last year, down there.
Did they have a specific request for an amount, or?
They do not.
No,
Uh,
they just
They-
said whatever.
I think anything would be
Whatever you give
appreciated.
them, that's what they want. Well, it's kind
I mean, I'm sure her cost is significant. She feeds a whole lot of people, and
Sounds like the more money she gets, the more she'll do.
And I think Fisher's covers the food. So
Yes.
they're more or less asking for contributions or donations to have something for each law enforcement officer.
So Chief, you've attended in the past, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
It's
it's
very nice.
pretty big. shouldn't it?
It's very good. Good food too. Yes.
what are some of the giveaways that she does? I know she does a
TVs, I think
t-shirt.
she even does some, Gatlinburg giveaways, I mean, it's.
Different things,
Fire
shirts.
pits, I know she told me fire pits.
a lot of stuff.
She really does a wonderful job.
She really does.
Yeah, she does.
I'd like to make a motion that we donate $200.
I'll second.
Wait a minute, talk this over.
It's time for
You
discussion.
know, you just said talk.
Got
Yeah,
that?
motion is second, discuss.
No more discuss.
Okay,
Go,
discuss.
Now
discuss.
some platforms.
Let me grab it. Let me grab it. Click right.
I was thinking for,
Yeah, it's on you.
All right. You said 200?
yes. That's roughly the cost of a TV.
The TV.
Dan said they give away TVs.
Oh, they give
But
away
we
TVs.
have 14 officers with, it said retired officers
How
are
many
allowed to
officers you
go,
got?
so it's hard to quantify that.
14.
I figured,
And Miss Fisher for doing all this stuff for the.
Well, she does it for the entire county, I mean,
Yeah.
she just don't do it for us, she does it for the entire county.
I think we should go a little higher than that.
She
I think it should
does,
be
she does the town officers, the county officers,
rescue.
I think correction officers,
Rescue.
parole
It's
officers.
law enforcement.
It's all state police, it's all
Okay.
law
District
enforcement.
police, okay. I like,
Well, you got a standing motion on it. We have a motion. So you can vote on it and do a second.
Got a second.
All right, got a second. So when your participants from 11 to 50, you're between 100 and 500. So Joe's
I'd
say
say-
buoys.
I'd say 600, 700. I like to give the police officers a good thing, because what the hell they've been doing for us in years past, and I've been there, and I've done it, and it's nasty. 600 or 700 would be a good thing for this police department and Miss Fisher's place. This is, y'all haven't been in that situation when you're out there driving on the streets. These guys gotta have something to relax on.
so,
I'd like to say, I would like to, because that's pretty much like an attack on us saying that we're not supporting our law enforcement officers, which is not true. We do support our law enforcement.
Yeah, I agree, but $600-700 would be good enough.
You gotta understand when you're using public money, you're also, we're several $1,000s over.
Well, I think
community
taxpayers,
donations.
they would love to see this, because they love the protection of the police.
so I made the motion, and I'd like to defend why I made the motion of what I did. First of all, as Zach said, we have 14 officers. We have retirees that are allowed to go. It's hard to quantify exactly how many retirees we have. Stan, Chief mentioned that there's door prizes such as TVs and that kind of thing. There's not a specific request in here for how much the donation they are asking for. And to me, I think I would like to try to get control of some of the donation requests that we have. I don't think we have to max out everything. I think we do support our police staff here. I think, I very much believe we support our police staff here, and I would love to give them the world. But I just don't think with a generic request like this, based off the number of employees we have that will be serviced there, I think this is a fair request. or
And
fair
can I just
motion.
say that Miss Fisher honestly doesn't care if it's $5 or 50,000, just as long as it's something, honestly.
She
And-
would
and-
appreciate
And everyone appreciates everything that council is doing,
Well, on my
from
side,
our side.
to me, I think, 700 would be great for more, the presence, the help she's getting down there,
Well, I will tell you, the help that she gets there, everybody that's serving, all of the officers are all volunteers. So she's not paying anything for labor. She does have the food cost. And she does have a day of no business because she's serving all the officers. But everybody else is volunteering their time to be down there to serve the officers. And there are other businesses that are donating these items.
How many officers, you said retired officers too?
Retired officers as well.
Count up the retired officers there, Stan. I'd say it's quite a bit.
We may have two that goes, it's retired.
Well, it's like you're saying, I just threw that out there.
So, and again, our donation request guidelines between 11 and 50, which I think with the retirees, it's probable that it's within that window.
Yeah.
You know, we're within that threshold. Again, you know, it's one of those things that you kind of say quietly.
I'm just saying this is what I request for, but I request that, but, you know, you already passed it.
Oh, we have a motion and a second.
Everybody voted.
And
No,
before we go,
All right,
again,
what are you gonna-
we support you guys.
Yeah, we totally understand. As I said, $5, 50,000. She said perfectly happy.
No, I didn't amend it.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Mike, can I abstain from this vote since it personally affects me?
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, we have a second for, $200 to provide to this. All in favor, stay so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, stay so by saying nay. All right, so motion carries. So next is a thank you from Tazewell County Fair Association for support requests. Ms. Mitchell.
I think I was on the agenda last week, but I'm sorry, I forgot or didn't know. When you get to be my age, it's really easy to everything. Rudy Keith is our chair, Jackie Atkins is our vice chair, and Josh is our board member.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Well,
Wouldn't be for those three guys, we probably wouldn't have failed, because they worked the whole week and weeks before. And thank you, Courtney, for coming to town again. Thank you. You know, people always complaining that our gate's too much. That's the one big thing we hear. Well, Little Irma had this bright idea that we could charge $2. I took Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the amount that we took in, and I divided it by 3. I came up with $1 amount. So I've got Tuesday and Wednesday given to me, and I need one more night, and I'm going to get that. The people are going to be able to get into the gate Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for $2. And I think that will make people happy. And we need happy people, so make people happy. We have 2 people, 2 businesses here in town that have donated the $1 amount. But I'm actually here to thank you all for the letter I got. We got a letter saying that you have approved what we had asked for, everything that we had asked for. And so we surely appreciate that. We'd like you to come and support the fair. You could work the gate, you could run errands, there's always plenty to do. So we'd love to have you come. It's going to be August 6th through the 10th. We are going to supposedly, right now, I'm hoping I'm not out of place in saying this, but you know, the Back of the Dragon is having this big kaflooey June 7th, 8th, and 9th. We are supposedly hoping we're going to be able to help them with the derby, something on Friday night and something on Saturday night, so there'll be more things going on. And so it's in the works if we can just get together on it. So come on down to the fair and enjoy.
Hey, I have a question. Now, what will the gate fees be?
For Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, it'll be $2. And you know, the kids under a certain height get in free anyway.
And then what will be Friday, Saturday?
It'll be $10. Unless the town wants to pick up some of that.
Well, I think this will help your attendance.
I think when we have this carnival, we haven't really seen it yet except online. And so it's gonna be already amusements, from North Carolina. Okay.
We still have the kids day on the game.
We have a kids' day, we have a gospel night, and this is one year that we're not charging for gospel night. I just talked to Rob today, and he was with humor, so he helped me with everything that I needed. So there's good people in this county.
Well, hopefully, and I think Councilmember Klein mentioned it at the last meeting, was we had our aqua park set up at a really high amount that we thought we needed it, and no one was coming. And then we dropped the prices drastically, and we started seeing people just come in every day and utilize it. So I think it's a balancing act, but I think it can work. Yeah.
We hope, we're gonna try this.
I'm sure a lot of us will see you there.
I had a question for events like the Back of the Dragon's going to be hosting this summer. Does the Tazewell County Fair Association hold like any insurance, or what costs are incurred by you by having other events at the fairground? Or is there?
Insurance is a killer.
Right.
In fact, that's one thing that we're having trouble with right now, is getting insurance on motor vehicles. And there are people in our county, I've said they got gas on the brain, because if it's not a motor vehicle, they're not happy. You know, they gotta have the derby and the figure eight and the truck pull and all of that, and it's all in the arena. And insurance, last year, we didn't know until the day before this event, and it was ATVs. And they kind of gotten popular, you know, the ATVs. And so we had an ATV event. The day before, our insurance carrier called us and said they would not cover the ATVs. So we had to do the best we could do, and insurance costs, that one event was $3,100.
How long was the event? Probably pretty short. Couple hours. Max.
And it was,
Do
you know,
you have insurance costs for this coming event, or is it
For
just
the-
early?
for the,
Back of the Dragon.
Back of the Dragon. Supposedly, Adam and Richard know an insurance company that may help with that, but we're not sure. I talked to him today, and he's still working.
Okay.
But we have to have insurance. I mean, you know, we cannot have insurance, even though we've been very fortunate. You know, we've had derbies and ATV and motorcycle runs, and we've been fortunate. Nobody's really been hurt bad. Bruised and their feelings hurt, things like that. You know, but come on down, work the gate.
I'm going to ask you one more question. When you run events like that and you're shouldering the insurance, so for an organization like OTR to come in, does the Fair Association charge them anything for hosting the event, or no?
Well, the first time I talked to the OTR people, they called and went down to the Back of the Dragon, and they were willing to give us the whole gate and all that we made on the concession stand we was going to run. But then, the more we talked, the more changes came along. So right now, they're wanting to pick up everything, all the expenses. I'm not sure they're going to do that, but that's what they're saying. That they'll pick up all the expenses, and they want us to have 40 and them to have 60. And they're going to get everything, all the expenses covered. And if they do that, it'll be good, but we're yet to see. They may, and they may not, you know. Seems to change from day to day. But they're coming to town, I think, again in a week or so, and we'll meet again.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you.
Doing a great job.
So next on the agenda is recognition of Brad Hyatt for Fire Department Assistant.
Thank you very much, how you doing? That's all.
Come on, Brad.
All I did was, I brought water. I did, I went to the store and got water, Harris called. He said, Dad, the guys don't have any drinking water. I called again,
appreciate you doing
I
that.
think Brad deserves it. Well, thank you.
Anybody else would have done that, I granted it.
I'm sure
Just
the box
because my
office-
son was an EMT, was like, hey, I know this guy, I can call him. It's me. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? And he said, we need water. One thing led to another, but I was just glad to be able to help.
Absolutely. I am sure they appreciate it. So next on the agenda is the OTR support request. Manager Reagan?
We have received a request from OTR, which is the Old Town Revival. They hold the event at Back of the Dragon, June the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th.
Just says second week of June.
Okay. They did have a little item for our packet that says that they had over 12,000 in attendance on Main Street for 2023. And it does discuss that they will be having a figure 8 derby on Saturday evening and qualifying for the derby on Friday evening. They have listed all of their media references that will have coverage for this event. It looks like they have added some new shows, their stunt shows, and they have more live music from what I understand through their packet. And they are asking for a $10,000 sponsorship to go toward the OTR/Foundation Moto, which is their company.
So with the October Fest, with this sponsorship, there were certain items that the town received.
Correct.
Is there anything listed in this one?
They did not list specifics, however, they did tell me that they have promotional items that they could put our logo on if we would like. They will make sure to, when they have their events, they reference, thank you for our sponsors, and they will reference the town of Tazewell. They did say that they could put us in the advertisement for the sponsorship, for their media, for the radios. So, I had spoke with Mr. Spinner today, and I mean, they're very excited. They really enjoy holding their event, and they're looking forward to coming to our town. And historically, we have donated to them. And I gave you all previously some information that you all had asked to see if we could track what kind of impact it had to the town. So I gave you what I could track for that.
Are we gonna be required to provide law enforcement, EMS,
Public Works,
public works?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Do you have any idea, Leanne, what the estimate cost is going to be? Or cheap, for 3 days, public works?
I don't have it before me, Leanne may have it before her.
Because that's not contracted, right?
No, no, and that's every staff member that we have for 3 days.
I
Do you receive any
apologize.
additional support from the county, like with that? It's a town event, hey, you got it, all hands on deck.
I've never asked, I'm sure the sheriff would be more than glad to assist us if
So
we
does-
needed it, but
Would
I
the
haven't.
town do what's on the fairgrounds, or would the county be responsible?
I don't think the county
I
would be
haven't
responsible
talked
for
to
the fairgrounds.
Spinner Chicken Dinner since we met down there. Back at Dragon.
Pretty good.
And I know at that particular point, it was early in making at the fairgrounds happen, but when you have that event at the fairgrounds, that's a tough event to have. The fair, those 2 nights it's tough to work that.
It's usually.
And we normally have to reach out to the sheriff's office to get them to help us with those events.
Well, and the fairground property is owned by the county, even
Yes,
though
yes,
it is
ma'am.
in town limits.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
the county still has to be involved in the policing. I would assume,
No, that's.
no,
bonded for the county?
No, I don't have any sworn officers for the county.
I also want to make, before we discuss this further, I want to ask one question. The discussion has been had about burnouts on the road. Is that correct?
I have said a hard no, burnouts on the road.
I just want to make sure, I know we had discussed that
Private
previously.
property, if they would like to hold that on their property down there, it's absolutely fine. But no burnouts on Main Street, or any other town on the street.
By their property, you're saying back to the Dragon, not the fair.
Yes, sorry, don't take that. Down there.
So is this request on top of what the Back of the Dragon asked for a few meetings back?
No,
No.
it's the same.
It's the same.
It's
They,
the
they
same.
actually reduced it 5,000. Now it's a donation to the.
It's not actually-
OTR, it's not to the.
It's
Back
followed.
of the Dragon.
Leanne, have you had any discussions with,
Exactly.
if council approves going forward with it, how to reduce each year so they become self-sustaining to where they're not asking us every year for money?
I have not had any discussion with that.
And I think that that could be derived from us. We can set parameters to that.
Which I guess in this case, it would be depending on how much sponsorship costs, right?
So we know with this sponsorship, after talking to Ms. Irma, that it's not unreasonable to think that these funds will help to go offset the cost of the insurance so that the events can occur. And we do know that, having unique, fun, quirky events in town is something that leads towards economic development. I'll make the motion that we support this sponsorship, and I've got more to add in discussion.
So, I have a motion,
I'll second.
I have a second, discussion?
Okay, one of the things, of course, with any type of event in any locality, some of the locations that I think of Sturgis, I think of Trail Days in Damascus. There are two events. Trail Days is shorter than Sturgis, and probably a more welcoming event. But these events go to great lengths to fund the town and offset taxpayer dollars that are collected through property taxes and such. We've got evidence that has been given to us by Miscellaneous, showing that we have historical data that shows that the mills taxes and the trans-occupancy taxes that we receive are increasing annually. And we clearly need to do better work in fleshing out a correlation between the mills taxes and the trans-occupancy taxes that we collect to events. And through items like Placer AI that does geofencing and tags each cell phone, you can do that. That's not something that's not achievable. I would love to see us work towards that. I also want to see us work towards having an endpoint for support. And what that looks like is almost similar to the discussions we've been having in regards to like Tazewell today. It's similar to the discussions that we have in terms of donation requests. We need to work towards being conservative with the dollars that we use. I think that we're all prudent and wise, and we spend a lot of time on working these issues out. But for the event, I would like to see perhaps 5 years. This is our third year. We've supported it. It's $20,000 that the town has put towards it, in addition to the costs that our law enforcement have, that our EMS has. And
And the street crew as
and-
well.
and
That
street
Donnie
crew.
has everyone out those
Right.
days as well.
And those costs aren't readily accounted for when we report how much we're actually spending on these events. So recognizing that we have supported this event tremendously over the last 2 years, this would be the third year, with our services in addition to our monetary support. I would like to see us close that faucet off at 5 years. I think after 5 years of event, if they can't get self-sustaining at that point, then I think we need to reattack it at that time. The the main incentive for supporting an event like this would be to help spur our economic development by creating unique opportunities that hopefully build repeat customers who continue to come to town, who continue to stay in our Airbnbs and enjoy our town's beauty and want to come back, ride our back of the dragon, and do the event. So those are my thoughts on the long-term perspective on this event.
I guess I'm looking at it on the short term. I mean, I feel like our donation is our public works and our EMS and law enforcement. Because we're donating much more than $10,000.
Overtime hours.
I would think that we need to get more specifics of what they're going to give us for that sponsorship. No, I mean, if we're gonna be mentioned in every single ad on, having our logo on every single thing, I mean,
Just trying to be fiscally concerned.
Right, it's certainly a balance between economic development pursuits and being fiscally conservative. And that's the reason I think duration, stated duration, is the top.
I'm not against it, by any means. I'm just trying to look at it.
What do you ask, 20,000?
I think it's 10.
It was 20.
It was
It's the last year.
So we do have a second, there's no more discussion.
I
So,
do have some discussion. Is it safe to say, like, with Public Works, are we well over 10,000, you would think?
Yes.
Well over? Okay.
Well, Public Works, Police, EMS,
Right,
3 days.
yeah, public services.
yes.
And John has men there as well. I don't know if John's men gets paid for that, but he does have a staff there on hand as well.
Oh, man,
so we do have a motion, any discussion? All in favor of moving forward with the sponsorship request, stay so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, stay so by saying nay.
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 Motion carries. All right, so next on the list, the American Legion Boys State and Auxiliary Girls State Support Request. This is a new one, right?
It is, this is new as well. Mr. Perry Johnson, who is with the American Legion, has come into our office today and said that every year they will send one boy, one girl to the boys state and the auxiliary girls state. They have to pay a fee of $500 per student. And this year, they were very surprised to have 4 boys and 4 girls that were interested in attending. They did not ask for a set amount. However, it does say that they must pay a fee of $500 per student. And if you look at your guidelines, I mean, I don't know that they would be able to send all 8, but they are already planning 1 girl, 1 boy.
So do we know, are these kids county households or are they county?
I think they're county, best I understood.
Usually be every high school that's sent 2 kids, but it's been declining in the past couple of years. Graham would participate, and Tazewell would participate, and that's done. Graduated this junior year, he was 1 and 2.
Have they
And he
approached
had
the,
girls stay there, just the boys, he left.
Leanne, have they approached the county in reference to this?
I'm not sure, but I could ask.
Might be happening tonight.
They have their board of supervisor meeting tonight, so.
When do they need their response? When's the event?
Father's Day weekend, which I believe is June.
June 16th is Father's Day.
It's usually it's after school without, they usually have it in years past the rapids.
I mean, we've already sponsored some that's, I don't think we're in town. That's why I wanted to make sure sure, check the county first, if, I don't mind helping on this, but,
Do you think it'd be possible if we could contact Mr. Perry and see if,
That's what I was gonna say. If we could push it out 1 month, we should have time to get more information and.
And I'll ask, what location the students are from.
so we'll just table this until
May.
May?
table on May.
Everybody good with that?
Nice reaction.
Next. I've been looking forward to this one. It's the new business recognition. House of Taylor, Michael and Mary Blevins. Come on up and tell us about what you got.
We were at the wrong meeting, we were at the county over there. What are they fighting about it? Hello, I missed your name?
Oh, Courtney.
Courtney. I was gonna start off differently, but Courtney just explained my whole background here. I cut my teeth doing economic development brochures and marketing for Carolina Power Light out of Raleigh. And then I built a company around real estate and development and mainly luxury real estate, working with hundreds of builders and developers. And we still run that company 3 decades later, which we moved to Tazewell. And we still have some of the biggest developers, yes. And,
But they are from Tazewell.
yes, we were born here. I grew up on Tazewell Avenue, but Pine Street. My grandfather lived on Pine Street, and we worked on hot rods there with my dad. So that's why House of Taylor is pretty special to me. So we've had this idea for a long time to build something. We're not going to share all of it with you today,
Draw us in.
but we looked all over the place and fell in love with Tazewell again. Our parents live here, all of our families from here. And
I think you got family.
we wanted to move back as fast as we wanted to get out of here. We were kids. So we've been gone for 32 years, but
I can relate to that.
this dream never left us. So I started out working at Harry's, painting billboards out of high school in the DE program, and you could leave school and go to work. Worked at a t-shirt shop here for a while, and then decided to go to commercial art school in Atlanta. So that's where I got my degree at the Art Institute of Atlanta and moved to Raleigh, and worked for about 10 years before I started my business. And so our dream was to have this kind of resort and gallery and an Airbnb and some little horses and all kinds of things. So we bought 113 Van Castle from Carl, and we've completely renovated it using sustainable, eco-friendly materials that will stand the test of time and preserve the character of the 100-year-old building. But there's stuff in there from all around the world. It's an amazing place. From the petrified wood sink with a deer head faucet made in Morocco to the dragon head sink downstairs with the handmade sink made from Spain.
All the way to a 1973 bar built in Medford, Virginia.
So we took that wood and our master carpenter turned it into 200 feet of beautiful material.
It's very similar building.
So quirky is what we are. We're not fancy, uppity people. We're down to earth, but we love design and art. So we hope to be, as you can see, the arts and culture. We hope to bring a lot of that here. The suite downstairs is called the Farmhouse Suite, and that will connect to what we have going on in North Tazewell on 87 acres. We'll save that for another day. But this will be the luxury piece of that, and it'll be an experience in itself, and the other stuff will be experiences as well.
And we currently are, our gallery is open, and we are currently in our exhibit, our first exhibit, and it's faith framed, sacred art through lens and brush. We'd love for y'all to come by if you haven't been by to see that yet. Work under our brand, Luther Taylor. We have some original oils, we have fine art photography, we have a lot of different options or offerings for you. We also plan to have at least a couple exhibits a year. We're still kind of getting our feet wet, getting in there and seeing what's going on. Venue space, that would be a great venue space as well. I've been in hospitality most all of my life, fundraising and philanthropy, I guess you could say. Also working, you know, in marketing and different things like that. But we're really excited to be back here in our hometown. Very excited to be around our family and friends. And it is true what you said. It's a beautiful downtown. It's an amazing downtown. And we're just excited to be here. But we hope.
And we're hoping that we added to the charm instead of taking away.
It looks pretty.
We can't wait for you to come and see it inside because it's just unbelievable. But it's going to be, it's built around our beard oil, which is Luther Taylor. It's handmade, and it's very expensive. So we built this art gallery around the brand. I release artwork as Luther Taylor instead of my own name. So that also adds to the brand. I think the most expensive painting in there is like maybe $4,200 right now. But we hand build all those things, from the frames all the way to the artwork. And there'll be a small, so the beard oil is just one thing. We work with other companies to curate their items that we love, right? And then we add to those to give them value. And then we work with other companies to make other custom things that will appeal to the motor enthusiasts. Yeah.
And nature enthusiasts, and people who like eco-friendly and sustainability, because that's my thing. I'm really big on eco-friendly and sustainability. And in our design and development and construction work, because we were hands-on, if you ever drove by, that's who you saw. We're out here painting, we're drywalling, we're putting carpet down, we're doing all those things together with our hands.
Yeah.
In our construction company, that's in the county, Mason Dixon Brothers. But like I said, we're excited, and we have lots of plans, lots of ideas, and lots of excitement, and I'm sure we'll be back here seeing you guys again.
Yeah.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions?
What's your business hours?
We are open right now Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 11 to 4. We're having a special day on April 15th. It's World Art Day, so we're going to be open that day. We're also having a really fun little thing this weekend, April 13th. We're having a little contest that we've been running called Taylor's Echoes, an Appalachian Showdown. So if you know anybody that has a little bit of talent, we're not looking for, you don't have to be a superstar, Lady Gaga, anything like that, but anybody that wants to play an instrument, who, you know, maybe they need a little bit more self-encouragement, and we want them to come and have fun. We have a great 1973 Alvarez acoustic guitar to give away that day to the winner. It's private little auditions, just to have fun. I think Chamber of Commerce and the Merchants Association are putting on the first annual Taste of Appalachia. And we hope that these people that come into audition, we were going to give them a chance to have a jam session that day at the festival, just to kind of showcase some people having some other little musical performing.
Yeah, we have Appalachian Day
there as well. So it'll be fun. So April 13th, April 15th, Sunday. So we'll have little fun things like that going
if you haven't had a chance to go in, I implore you to go because it is amazing inside there.
Thank you.
And we're so glad to
Thank you
have
so
it.
much.
It's unfortunate to have it. And we do have
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
yes, hold your hands up. There you go. Thank you, guys. If you think the outside looks great, that inside and downstairs is unbelievable. All right, so moving right along, next on the agenda is the approval of minutes for council meeting on March 12th and special call council meeting on March 7th, March 26th, and April 2nd. Need a motion to approve. Need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approval of the minutes, stay so by saying aye. All opposed, stay so by saying nay. All right, motion carries. The next is the approval of financial statements and the financial report for March 2024.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approval of financial statements for March 2024, stay so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, stay so by saying nay. All right, motion carries. Next is a committee conference update. Planning Commission Committee, Councilmember Davis.
Okay, we met last Monday. We talked about, there was a rezoning request from the Four Seasons Y that I believe is further on in their agenda. We have referred it up to council to set a public meeting. And then Chris Wearmouth came in and gave us some information on the Tazewell Community Foundation, the overlay. He provided us with a preliminary site plan. There's still some things that need to be notated on the site plan, but it's looking promising.
Excellent. Any questions? Okay, so next is our unfinished business. Manager Reagan, the Virginia Cooperative Extension 4-H camp request.
Last month in your packet, there was a request for a donation to send campers to the 4-H camp. And you all had questions of how many campers would be from the Tazewell area. And the answer is 40 campers will be from the Tazewell area.
Yeah, but it's Tazewell, Tazewell?
Tazewell town area. It does say Tazewell town area.
I don't know, the town, it's a vague statement.
I know my kids won, so,
Your kids going?
oh yeah, anytime I can ship her off.
Your kid is one, not, your kid is win.
No. I'm sending her, I've already signed her
One
up
of the
for it.
kids are
Right,
definitely
she is one of them, yeah.
Whether she knows it or not.
Oh, it's fine. She's,
39.
yeah, I don't know the other 39. Actually, I know at least 3 of them are from the town. It's the ones that she's told me about. I don't know the other ones, sorry.
I might be able to. I mean, still, it was 11 to 50, it was up to 500.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to donate $200.
I'll second.
All right, so we've got a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approval?
I'll recuse.
Yes, I'll recruise, yeah. I mean, my kid's going, she's already signed up. I won't vote in this one.
So are we still discussing, or are we done?
Whoever, you second it.
And Miss Emily, we don't know do you know the cost of the camp?
I can't remember, I know you had to have a deposit down when you signed up, I think the deposit's $50, and it's a couple $100 for the camp. I think they try to cap it at a certain amount, so more kids can go, and I do believe that they offer scholarships to go as well.
It's $245 per camper, and they require that the campers pay a $50 portion of that and do $195 for any areas are available.
40.
I would say 500, but you, yeah.
You're covering, yeah, expensive camp.
It's expensive, yeah.
Well, you're helping out with deposits.
That's right. How about
Bills, I'm sure she can.
They do a lot of things at this camp. I mean,
That's it.
they have
And good more.
archery, they have a bunch of different things. They have Spanish, cooking,
Nobody's saying it, did they?
I did.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what we can do it.
Yeah, no, it's
You
not.
can
You
amend
can
if
amend
you
it.
ever.
I demand $400.
Well, no, I mean, it's his.
I would have to amend.
He
I mean, if the discussion leads to, that's,
It's expensive. It's the kids in the town.
Yeah,
Well,
this will definitely help with incidentals and items that 4-H camp leaders run into. What a kid forgot a lunch, whatever, lost a t-shirt, whatever.
Yeah, well, it's
There's-
overnight. They bus them there. They have a whole bus. They pick them out at the fairgrounds, bus them to the campus in Abingdon. They're there for the whole week, and they bus them back.
Okay.
all right. I'll amend my motion to $400.
I'll second.
That's good. We got $2 extra.
All right, so, any discussion? All in favor of the amended motion, stay so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, stay so by saying nay. All right, motion carries for $400. So I didn't see anything under miscellaneous. So now, new business, auction for surplus. Manager Reagan.
There will be an auction held in May, it's up on the 4 lane up there. They do this, I think May and September. So we have got several items, and there's a list in your packet of the items, and we've also included pictures of those items. They are at their end of use for us. So we would need council approval to send those to auction, give them a new home.
I make a motion to send those to auction.
I second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor of the approval to send these documents, stay so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, stay so by saying nay. All right, motion carries. Next is to reschedule the June 2024 council meeting from June 11th to June 4th. In our matter for raising.
So as everyone knows, our regular scheduled meeting is the second Tuesday of the month. However, the month of June, the mayor has been contacted by his water tour will be out of town. So if council would have it, we would like to request that we will have a June 4th council meeting for that month.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor of approval of the date change, stay so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, stay so by saying nay. I'd like to thank you guys for doing that for me.
You got me a favor.
I can't, you thank you. It would be hard to zoom in from where I'm going. So, next on the agenda is the Congressional Directed Funds upcoming visit from Senator Warner on April 23rd.
Okay, we were notified that we would be receiving some congressionally directed funds, and it will be going to our EMS department. And Senator Warner will be here on April the 23rd at 4:30 at Tazewell Town Fire Department. I do believe that there's been an invitation sent out, so if you would like to attend, please make sure that you respond and go down there and welcome the senator.
Is that
And
down
say
at the
thank
fire
you.
station?
Yes, at the fire station. And the congressional funding actually for this year to apply had just closed
And this, this money that the senator's coming to kind of big check to us, that was,
It was applied for by Ms. Killen. So thank you very much for getting us some very needed funding.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And that'll be able to help us improve their facility.
Yes.
okay, so, moving right along, we've got raising the threshold for the elderly tax exemption.
Now, this is, that's right. Due to the recent increase in real estate tax assessments, I am concerned how this may affect the citizens of our towns, specifically our senior citizens. Many of our senior citizens are on fixed incomes and often have to make difficult decisions whether to buy medicines or pay bills or buy groceries. The town of Tazewell Town Council has held a discussion on ways that we could help. The town of Tazewell currently offers an elderly exemption for real estate taxes and for those that are qualified. Current requirements for this exemption include a person must be 65 years or older and have a household income of $25,000 or less with proper documentation showing such. I would like to make a motion that the town of Tazewell raise the income requirement threshold to $35,000 and allow the extension to be to the due date for applications. I'll second. Thank you.
Was that, so you meant your second? Any discussion?
Can I make a point to this? This statute, the council actually enacted one that you had 10 years ago. So what Councilman Fox is proposing may be right in tune with what needs to happen. But what I would recommend, that the window for this application for this year is already closed. Under the ordinance, so it's going to be effective for 2025. I would recommend to the council that they request your manager to get in touch and talk with the treasurer and also with the county, because there's a formula that's applied in your ordinance that deals with what taxes that the county charges in terms of real estate tax in order to calculate what the exemption amount is. And I would recommend to you all that you basically mirror what the county, the level they have. I understand they may have raised theirs recently or they may not have, I don't know. But I think that with this $25,000, $10,000 increase that Councilman Fox is talking about, that you coordinate that with the county. So the two are in line with one another, so you get equal treatment, one, and two, I think it's a more fiscally responsible way for the council to approach it, based on what numbers are there over the course of the last 10 years, and not just arbitrarily come up with a $10,000 figure. Just my
So you're saying as tax assessments increase, this will proportionally increase?
Not necessarily. I'm just saying that you probably look and see, granted, over the 10 years, it may have been with inflation and other increases, that going from 25 to 35 is appropriate. I just think you need to have the facts and numbers that correlate with what the county is doing, so you're doing the same things to affect everybody equally.
I do have some of that information. Right now, there is 21 people that take advantage of this. The 2023 exempt amount, which is what we reduced off of their tax revenue, $2,374.35. The maximum discount that we give, based on the formula that he was speaking of, is $132. Tazewell County's threshold, when we enacted this, it was $25,000. So we mirrored what the county did. Their current threshold is $30,000.
So Brad, your suggestion is to,
Well, at least check. Right now, you've got time. You don't,
yeah,
what you do right now is not going to take effect until next year anyway, so at least until January 1. I would recommend to have Leanne look and see if the county's considering changing anything, to see if the numbers, if they change at all. And you can also always revisit this, but I would recommend you to get your numbers in hand. Because you may want to go talk with the county and say, look, you may want to see about raising it to the same level that Councilman Fox proposed. But it's going to affect you roughly. You're talking about, if you're reducing your revenues here in the town, roughly about $140 an applicant, so roughly, what was it, 24?
21 people right now.
Or how much was it, 20?
2,374.
Yeah.
And then for it to take effect into the next year, when's our due date?
April 1st is the due date. We usually send these applications out about the end of January.
So-
That's when people usually get like their SSI letters and stuff like that.
So we need this
Basically
approved
till December.
before January.
Yes.
That's what I would recommend you do. If you've got time, I think get your numbers together. I think it's being fiscally responsible to, going through, you're talking about tonight about these contributions and things like that, your donations or what have you, I think being fiscally
Knowing the
responsible.
level of the participants, like, that's part of the reason that we discussed it previously.
Right. And this falls in line with what you already talked about. I think it's just the best way to approach it.
Thank you.
So there's a motion in the second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dave made a motion to table it until we have more information.
Leanne come up with some more.
I will have information for you for the next.
So we have a motion to table it for right now until Leanne gets more data. Do I have a
I'll
second?
make a second to change order.
Any discussion? All in favor of tabling the issue until we get more information, stay so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, stay so by saying nay. All right, motion to table carries.
Maybe the county will come down.
So, next on the agenda is to review the planning commission recommendation to set a public hearing for a rezoning request for 106 Stratton Road, the parcel behind the YMCA to be rezoned from B2 to M1.
This is to facilitate their solar ground mount system. Recently done the M1 update for the 3 kW or less. This is to follow in line with that. They gave me the application January 24th. Be one person on notified me of the hospital, so
Yeah.
it's the only person in town.
Right behind you. You just notified.
I'll make the motion.
Well, we need to.
It could be probably a short one,
Sorry,
to
motion.
7 o'clock.
Well, we're just setting the date for the
You're
public.
just setting the date for the public hearing.
What's the next council meeting? May
May 14th,
May 14th?
7:15?
yeah, the most.
May 14th.
It's going to be
So,
the shortest public hearing.
I need to, I'll entertain a motion to have the public hearing for the rezoning request at 106 Stratton Road for May 14th at 7:15.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor for setting the public hearing, stay so by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, stay so by saying nay. All right, motion carries. So next is the first reading for amendment to zoning ordinance for Hillsborough Drive in the Tazewell High School area to be rezoned from A1 to R1 and R2. Attorney Price?
Mayor, based on the public hearing you had tonight, I would, and after speaking with Mr. Hurley, I would recommend from what ordinance was advertised, we had on review for the public to read, that the parcel of 095A0013A be removed, which was the parcel for Mr. Day, and that all the remaining parts of the ordinance we have drafted, which I'll read in just a minute, be maintained as is, but I would be recommending that you remove that one, and have a vote to remove that one from the request for zoning change.
So do you need that motion prior to reading?
Yes.
I would make a motion to remove that parcel from the zoning change.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor of removing Mr. Day's parcel from the change, stay so by saying aye. All opposed, stay so by saying nay. All right, motion carries.
That being said, the way that Chris and I had this set up, I actually had it drafted as if it were two different ordinances, just for the ease of the public to see what was being changed from A1 agriculture to residential limited 1, or from A1 agricultural to residential general R2. The way that it will actually, and I'm going to read this, is just showing there will be one ordinance with the two different breakdowns of the parcels, just for ease of reading, and also for enacting into our town code. So it'll read as follows. And bear with me, folks, there's a lot of numbers and letters here, so it'll take a few minutes.
Well, I was glad you were reading.
Chapter 23 zoning, Article 1 in general, Section 23-2.1, Town of Tazewell zoning map. Be ordained by the Council of the Town of Tazewell, Virginia, pursuant to Section 6-2 of the Town Charter and Sections 23-2, 23-2.1 and 23-6 of the Code of the Town of Tazewell, that hereby amends the Code of the Town of Tazewell to enact the following change to the Town of Tazewell zoning map in order to reclassify the zoning designation of certain parcels of real property located within the town as identified below and to reconfigure the Town of Tazewell zoning map accordingly. This will be for section 23-2.1, Town of Tazewell zoning map. I'll start with the R1, A1 to R1. Reclassify agricultural general A1 to residential limited R1, 0 to 2 dwelling units per acre. This will affect tax map parcel numbers 09502 0001, 09502 0002, 09502 0012, 09502 0013, 09502 0014, 09502 0015, 09502 0016, 095A 0024, 095A 0024A, 09502 0003, 09502 0004, 09502 0005, 09502 0006, 09502 0007, 09502 0008, 09502 0009, 09502 0010, 09502 0010A, 09502 0011, and 094A5A 0033. Those are all the areas that will begin going from residential, recommended to go general A1 to residential limited R1. And that was the short.
That was the short.
Here comes the long list. These are to reclassify the following properties from agricultural general A1 to residential general R2, which is 2 to 5 dwelling units per acre gross. Tax map parcel numbers 094B 09 000A, 094B 09 000B, 094B 09 000B1, 094B 09 000C, 094B 09 000D, 094B1A 000A, 094B4 04 000A, 094B 04 000A2, 094B 05 04 001 through 004, 094B 05 04 005 through 007, 094B 05 04 008 through 0010, 094B 05 04 0011 through 0013, 094B 05 05 001 through 006, 094B A 0008, 094B A 0004A, 094B A 004B, 094B A 005, 094B A 006, 094B A 003, 094B1A 000A, 094B 110 001 through 004, 094B 110 005 through 016, 094B 110 0017 through 0026, 094B 110 0027 through 0035, 075A 0038, 075A 075A 0039, 075A 0041, 075A 0042, 075A 0044, 075A 0045, 095A 0013, 095A 0022, 095A 0022A, 095A 0023, 094A 506, 0004, 094A 506, 005, 095A 0025, 095A 0026, 095A 0026A, 095A 0026B, 095A 0027, 094858032, 09485060001, 09485060002, 09485060003. All of the designations as indicated on the town zoning map will remain unchanged.
Better be nice. Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, we're not gonna wait the second reading.
Brad, we're not doing any more zoning changes.
That was a lot, but I do think this was a smart move on behalf of the planning commission to bring these sections into play. And I think accommodating Mr. Day was a smart move as well.
Yeah.
Based on his property actually having running water through it, through the spring going into the lake. And I think that was a good move. I know he appreciated it very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Two more, going home.
I think you missed a number.
If I did, I wouldn't, Chris. We were supposed to proofread form, but I was doing it. Brad, answers.
To waive second reading, would that happen now?
No.
You better be really nice.
For one, there's no emergency. This is something that you'd only take up tonight to vote again if you had an emergency for this. Does not. So no, next time you will have the meeting, we will have the same, I'll read it again if you want me to, before your death, or you can basically have a motion to waive the second reading and then have a vote on its taking effect and passage and then becoming effective 30 days from the date of next month's meeting.
Perfect. So it has votes on it, so. So, next, Manager Reagan, milk tax incentive.
So I've had a business that has contacted us, and they're interested in locating in town. And they've asked us if we have a mills tax incentive, and we do not have a mills tax incentive. Our IEDA offers several incentives like depot, there's a real estate property improvement type of incentive, but there is no mills tax incentive. So why I'm coming to you is, would you be interested in us gathering some information, possibly forming a program for mills tax incentives?
I don't see anything. Collecting some data wouldn't hurt, and bringing it back to us and letting us see what it would look like.
Okay.
You're talking about specific for new businesses only, correct?
Yes.
Just like we did with the entrepreneurial business traction grant.
Yes.
Yes, I think it'd be good to mirror guidelines such as that and have some metrics involved that someone would have to meet.
I definitely think if we do this guidelines, reporting requirements, keeping our account up to date type of thing.
Time frame.
Yes.
Yeah, similar to what we did 5-6 years ago, whatever that we had in place.
I don't think it would almost, I won't say identical, but it would be very close. It was just instead of having the incentives being a tax abatement for personal property and fixtures or for real estate, you do it strictly for a restaurant before you come into the town as a new establishment. And here's what we can offer in terms of that. So almost identical in terms of framework.
And the good thing about that is that that's a cost. It's not necessarily a cost that the business itself pays. It's the consumer that pays that tax that we can give back. If we don't have it, like you said, new business, it's a tax that we wouldn't be getting anyway, that we would get from consumer taxes, and it's an opportunity to help a restaurant get through the early years, which is always the hardest years.
Well, really, it comes down to they would be showing potentially to customers that their prices are gonna be lower, but it's one where, again, they still have to pay it, they still have to
Right.
collect that tax.
That's what I'm saying, it's a
And
consumer tax.
theoretically, it's
they
not
gotta
their money anyway, so that's something to be thinking about.
That's
It is
always
interesting.
been my
That's the side to it, that's a difference for the other criteria we have for the other entrepreneurial business traction grant. That's money that goes back into the pocket of the investor or the business owner. Here, every restaurant is a steward of this money for the purposes of the taxpayer. So you need to be thinking about that, to be considering this, because it's never their money. It was it was never their money when they collected it. So,
It's a trust tax.
yes. It's a pass-through.
Yes.
They collect it on behalf of the town. That's what it's there. So, be thinking about that, Leanne, when she gets you the information. Keep that in mind when you consider what you want to do with it.
Okay.
Good point.
Okay.
So, next on the agenda is miscellaneous. I didn't see anything, so we'll jump to miscellaneous public comment.
Yes. I think that's all.
Name and address, please. Limited to 3 minutes.
My name is Amanda Killen. I reside at 227 Church Street. I own a commercial property on Main Street. I own 145 Main Street, 131 Marion, and 117 Marion. Also leased to fabulous commercial properties from Ms. Nancy Brooks on Main Street, 168A and 168B. I own and operate the Well Coffee Shop on Main Street, and I own and operate the Lofts on Main Airbnb Apartments on Main Street. I have owned and operated a business on Main Street in some capacity since 2017. Somewhere along 2019, the town entered a program sponsored by the Cumberland Plateau Planning District to provide free internet to the Main Street corridor. It started at the Historic Society, it extended all the way down to Painted Peak and 300 feet in either direction. Businesses benefited greatly from this. It was a great amenity for folks who were just visiting Main Street for the day, for events or whatever. It encouraged people to stay and linger on Main Street. The longer they stay, the more they eat, the more they shop, the more taxes we pay. I paid my meals tax on time, I want that just on the record. And when the mini park construction began, obviously the router for that was inside the mini park. You can still see that it's lingering out there, you just can't connect to it. And it's the problem of not having the internet available on Main Street has been highlighted because of the temporary closure of the library. Is there any plan to reinstate this
We're just
service?
talking about that. There is.
So, Air IT guy, Sean Hagee, he has already been contacting the appropriate companies, and we're actually thinking of moving it if Mr. Altizer will give us permission up to Altizer Stage. So, yes,
Wonderful.
there is plans.
That would be great. Yes, it has been sorely missed.
How long has it been offline for, did you say?
About a year now.
A year?
Yeah. And so, for example, during COVID, we promoted Main Street as a destination for students to come and work remotely, and they were able to park in spaces and work all day without interruption. It was wonderful internet, very fast, very strong. It's a really good thing to have, so.
I can remember you coming before council before and talking about how you sat on Main Street and did some of your work.
Yes, all the time. I have another thing I want to talk about really quick. As you all know, I have previously done some grants for the town of Tazewell. In total, we've received about $2 million. That is an estimate. It is not an exaggeration for economic and community development projects. That said, in 2020, we received a grant from Dominion Energy. And the initial purpose of that grant was to install a kayak access point on Riverside Drive. Unfortunately, we couldn't obtain those easements, and we had to scrap that plan and go back to the drawing board, and so we landed on purchasing a very large, very attractive interactive kiosk. It's an electronic sign that was to be installed on Main Street. It's going to have a business directory, an event schedule, emergency information, all the recreation information, just a little mini visitor center. It's been sitting in the basement of this building for a couple years now. And I know the mini park is in shambles, but it doesn't have to go at the mini park. It could go anywhere as long as you can get electricity. Again, that is another, as a Main Street business owner, that would be a huge benefit to us, and something that would also just be really attractive for folks just driving through town. How progressive would we look with this big, beautiful sign? And when we purchased it, Sean was actually heavily involved in selecting it and making sure that all the configurations were correct and that he could do the programming and handle changing all the information out. And we have some new council members, and I just wanted to bring that up to let you guys know that it's here, and it's just sitting here, and as you move forward with your plans for the mini park or whatever you're going to do, it would be wonderful to incorporate that into the plan.
we're looking into that, aren't we?
Well, this is a sign that we already have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's here.
Well, we need to get it out.
It would be wonderful if you could get it out. That would be great.
Do you know, like, I'd imagine there's gonna be interactive items on this. So if you have to say a map, was there any programming that came with it so you can click on the well, you can see your menu, you can see, you know, a display video. Is this, so that's already, you said Sean was working on the programming, but I imagine like refreshing this.
You would
is
have to,
something-
yeah, it would be a big undertaking to
Right.
get all that data gathered and
Uh-huh.
entered, but it was set up to, I don't remember where we ordered it from, it's been so long, but you could see a demo online, and that's exactly how it was structured.
Right.
You know, some local trail map, and then a business video, and event schedules and all that good stuff. But we bought it, it's here.
Do you have a suggestion where it could go in the meantime? While the maintenance is being worked?
Board of Supervisors has an, it doesn't, it could be outdoors. It's okay to be in the elements, but the thinking was we wanted to build a little awning above it, just a small little roof. So really it could go anywhere, but the Board of Supervisors has that awning on their porch if they would allow it.
You know, the train station would be a really cool place for that.
That's kind of,
It's
it's
gotta-
gotta be in
It's
the.
gotta have power.
Yeah, it has to have electricity, yeah.
Well, and one thing that could also, since there is this downtown master plan coming, that can also be worked into the plan.
I forgot we had.
I just didn't want it to get forgotten.
Yeah, no, it does not need to be
Also,
forgotten.
if Dominion Energy ever wants an accounting of where that grant was, we've got $10,000 to account.
We need to get it.
We had it on that before, correct?
It was,
It
we
was
were going to
never-
put it.
It was never-
Right,
yeah.
no, it was never put out. And I have one more thing. The street lamp on my street in front of my house at 227 Church Street has been out for about 6 years. And I would really love it if we had a light.
Why'd you wait
Look,
6 years?
I did not, I told the former town manager, who also lived on Church Street, and it's still out.
So you
I think-
told
I
the
think-
right guy right there.
Yeah.
He stands,
I think what they do is they make a call.
they call AEP.
And they,
I'm actually looking to see if that was on the recording.
I found one up there in the subdivision, that guy was a little bit worried about it,
Yeah.
so I called. And then the police called, and then 2 or 3 days later, they called again, they had to keep calling before they came up there. So, yeah.
We have, Stan has to contact.
Yep.
Stan.
One of Todd's famous quotes was, he would say, "I'm always looking for the nails that are gonna hit me between the eyes and the 2x4." I just wanna note that in looking at the meals tax incentive, that's a wonderful idea. Your existing restaurants,
Yeah.
that's gonna hurt them, because everyone else is paying a lower amount at all the other restaurants. So I would just ask that you please think of some way to incentivize those restaurants that are in good standing with their meals tax. I'm just telling you, you're gonna have an outrage if you do that. And it's a great thing to do. I think it's awesome, but I can see that would stir up a lot of controversy. So the meals tax is a sore spot already. But I paid mine, so.
You want to lower the taxes,
Yeah.
Well, based off what Brad said.
I guess I can do
You gave
that.
the-
Yes, it was in good faith. I was a good steward of my tax money.
You passed over their money.
This much.
This one. Next week, I'll do that next week, okay, this month.
And
Out
then,
out of the 26 lights that we reported yesterday, that one was not one, but I will get that one
Okay,
tomorrow.
thank you.
And I will ask Donnie, I actually did not know about this sign being in our basement. So Amanda told me that yesterday. I said, oh, okay. So I'll ask Donnie, if there, are power, problems or better placement for power and sign on Main Street or.
The porch of the Historic Society, maybe, or I don't know.
Well, and it could always be placed somewhere temporarily and then be worked into the master plan too, to have a permanent location.
Brad even said possibly the library, because it does have a cover. If the library is not open right now. But we will work on a place.
No.
Yes, sir.
All right, so, next, council member comments.
I got a comment to make, is that Charlotte Ann Smith Thompson, good friend, she passed away, Ronnie Thompson's wife. She passed away, and I'd like to give, everybody, please give a blessing for them through these days, the family and all. But she's a good one, and they lived here all their lives in this town, and I don't know if there's anybody else, Mr. Smith. The Ronnie he's, I think he's down and out now with this issue. I think he's got something wrong with him. He was a Tazewell High School football player that ran like a jet. I mean, but he was a good football player for Tazewell High School. A good basketball player, track runner, and I think that give his blessings for his wife, and I think that's all I got to say right now.
Thanks, Dick.
Did I understand there were 26 street lights?
Yes, sir, there was 26 reported yesterday.
Is that in addition to what I sent you?
I did forward that
Okay.
to our chief.
Was that the Main Street ones?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Those do get included.
I'm trying to get taxes down.
Oh, motion to adjourn. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Come on.
Oh, sleep over.
All in favor of adjourning, stay so by saying aye. All opposed, stay so by saying nay.